Hey Rockets, welcome back to Zane and the Hurricane, our story that we've been reading. So make sure you have your graphic organizer out. Make sure you have your graphic organizer out. Oh, I noticed some new things that I added to my graphic organizer. I'm wondering if you added some things to your graphic organizer. Well, I added a new setting, not a when, but a where, the canoe. Did anybody think of that and add that to their organizer? I also added two new characters. Malvina, who's a little girl with a wild hair, remember? And I called him the Hat Man, the gentleman that she's with in the canoe. We'll see if we can figure out what his name is, his real name is, and add it there a little bit later. But if you weren't thinking these things and you haven't added them, go ahead and do so for me right now, please. Now, when we last left off on chapter 11, Zane had been stuck in the attic. He had been stuck in the attic. And Malvina and the Hat Man came by, and I'm looking for an R word to show that they helped him, that they got him to safety. A word that starts with R. Oh, rescued. They rescued him. Okay, so they rescued him. And then when we got to the very last page, remember Bandy jumped into the canoe and landed on Zane's chest. And what happened to the canoe? It tipped over. And that's where we stopped. And we know that they were all in the water. So now we got to see, are they safe? What's going on? Because remember, Malvina said that there was something in that water that's dangerous. All right. Chapter 12, terrible things. Later, when I'd had time to think about it, the thing that impressed me most about the man with the hat was how he kept so calm when everything was going on. I was all frantic, convinced I'd drowned two people, but by the time my eyes cleared, he'd already lifted the girl up to the roof and was reaching out a hand to help me. No big thing, he says, shaking water from his dreads. We got a little wet, that's all, boy. Like it happens every day, being tipped out of the canoe. And the weird thing is, the cause of it all is my stupid dog, Bandy. He's balanced on the peak of the roof with his tail wagging, shook the water off and doesn't even look wet. It's only us dumb humans that are soaked to the skin. I'm sorry, I say, spitting out dirty water. Really, I'm sorry for what just happened. The man has got a hold of the swamp canoe and pulls it under the eave. Accidents happen, he says. No apology required. Okay, next thing I'm fixing to get my hat and then bail out our transportation. You children keep hold of this roof till I'm done. We good? He's looking firmly at the girl. Why would he be looking firmly at Malvina? He told them to stay put on that roof until he bailed or got the boat. But he had to look at Malvina, right? She gave her a firm look. What do we know about Malvina? Shout out to Jaden because he answered my question about Malvina. He said she was bossy and kind of annoying. And I think she doesn't listen very well. So why do you think he looked at her? Gave her that firm look. Type it in the comments. Good, she says with a nod. He scoops up his straw hat and takes the feather from the brim and holds it in his teeth and uses the hat to bail out the canoe. When he's done, he slips the feather back into the brim band, puts the hat on top of his head, and shows us how to slide down the roof into the canoe while he holds it steady. Why do you think he has to hold that canoe steady? Think about when you're riding a bicycle and you're trying to hold it steady. Why would you do that? Give me an answer in the comments, please. When we're safe in the canoe, the girl is in front of me in the middle, and in the middle When we're safe in the canoe, the girl in the front and me in the middle holding Bandy, the man hoists himself up to the stern of the canoe, making it look so easy. After he's settled, he opens the latch of a little storage compartment and takes out a plastic bottle of water and hands it to me. Sip at it slow, he suggests. Maybe pour a little bit in your hand, let that dog lick it up. Warm water never tasted so good. I nod thank you, and Bandy makes a grateful whimper. There now, we good to go, the man says, straightening the chunky black framed glasses on his slightly bent nose. Keep a sharp lookout for my paddle. Can't have drifted too far. That's another thing for me to feel sorry about, that the paddle got lost when we tipped over. But before I can really get to worrying about it, the girl shouts, "Yo, it's over there! It's over there!" The man dips his hands and arms in the water like he's swimming the canoe along and slowly strokes over to where she's pointing. And sure enough, he finds the paddle barely visible in the dark water. Just like Christmas morning, he says, picking it up. Okay, we back on a mission. Next stop, someplace dry. Where we going, True? The girl asks. Place I know. Then he turns to me and says, I'm Trudell Manning. Some folks call me True. Miss Malvina Rollins, you already know. Me and Malvina, we family most. Not blood, but family the same. You my blood, True, Malvina pipes up. Whatever you say, darling. Then he looks at me patiently as if waiting for me to respond. Hold on. So we know he's more than the Hat Man now. We know that his name is True. So I'm going to put /True. You go ahead and do that. Okay. Oh, yeah. Sorry. I'm Zane. Zane Dupree. Dupree? That a local name? But you ain't. No, sir. I'm not from around here. Makes no difference, he says with a shrug. You one of us now, boy. He dips the paddle and the canoe begins to move along, gathering speed. We glide away from what's left of Grammy's house and into another world, or so it seems. A world of rooftops poking from above the flood like little black islands and trees clawing up through the water like gnarled hands of the drowned. A world where the water and the sky melt together until you can't tell where one begins and the other ends. So all the houses are submerged, covered in water. All you see are the rooftops. That's all you see. You can't see doors, you can't see windows, because all of that is below the water. What kind of situation is this that they're in? All because of the hurricane. The air feels wet and heavy and stinks of sewer and oil and smoke. Somewhere, something is burning, but we can't see what. Only the smoke, like a gray smear in the sky. We glide along for a while, and then the skinny girl, Malvina Rollins, she turns to me and announces out of the blue, True, a famous musician. Oh, yeah? Good. He played trumpet, cornet, tuba, trombone, Malvina says, ticking the instruments off of her fingers. Anything brass, True played real good. Not trombone, he says, chuckling. I heard you, she exclaims. He pauses to rest his paddle. For your amusement, darling, but the fact is, I'm not a slide man. Trumpet, cornet, pocket trumpet, yes, tuba in a pinch, but not trombone, not really. Good if you wanted to, she says. He seems pleased at the notion. No doubt. True jamming with all the big names, she says proudly. He's down with Wynton, Kermit, Jr., everybody. And those are all famous musicians, jazz musicians. Mr. True smiles indulgently. Studio work, he explains to me, with Marcellus, Kermit Ruffins, Harry Connick Jr., Randy Newman, the Neville Brothers. Anybody needs a horn, I'm there. But backing up famous musicians don't make me famous. Wish it did, though. You famous to me, Malvina insists. He grins, dips the paddle into the filthy water, and says he doesn't know how far exactly we'll have to go. Flood changed everything, he explains, glancing down at the landscape of submerged buildings. We got to feel our way along till we get to a place I recognize. So we lost? Malvina asks. No, he says. We not lost. No, sir. Got a compass in my head. It's going to point me in the right direction. True that, says Malvina, nodding. He notices my confusion and explains. True that has nothing to do with my name. It's the way we say that's true. Only it means something more. Something like I agree with you because we both see things the same way. Nowadays it's kind of a cliche thing because everybody say it, even the tourists to New Orleans. Malvina giggles. True that, true, she says. Now she playing with us, he says, grinning. We keep going. Mr. True paddling in steady rhythm, gliding us along. After a while, I get to staring down at my hands, thinking about my mom and Grammy, and how I really messed up this time. Bandy snuggles closer, but for some reason, that doesn't make me feel any better. Feeling sorry for myself and not really paying attention to where we're going until Mr. True says in a voice of wonder, will you look at that? We come out from among the sunken houses and into an open area big as a lake. Right in the middle is this giant rusty red steel box. A great big huge thing as long as a city block. Looks like it dropped out of the sky and crushed a bunch of houses that stick out from under it like water-soaked kindling. Impossible it seems, but it's there. That's a barge from the industrial canal, he says. Must have busted through the levee, knocked all them homes off their foundations. So the levee is what's kind of blocking the water and holding it in place. You can Google the levees in New Orleans. He turns away. He turns away as if it's too much pain for him to see that thing. After that, I really start paying attention. All kinds of stuff floats by as we guide through the water. A basketball, an empty cooler, soda bottles, hunks of wood, plastic toys, cups and bowls, papers, books, clothing, precious things, and garbage, all mixed together, lifted up by the flood. We keep going for a while. Nobody's saying much, like what we're seeing is beyond words. Things still have names, but they're different in the water, out of place, and don't look right. At one point, we come upon a long, skinny wooden thing that seems strangely familiar. Takes me a moment to figure out what it is. The little wind-vane steeple from the New Mission Zion Baptist Church floating sideways. So a steeple is that big, tall point, usually a cross that's up on top of a church. A big crow with black glittering eyes perches on the fat end of the steeple, squawking as we glide by. Despite the muggy heat, I shiver in my bones. Everything looks so strange and wrong and mixed up like a bad dream, except not even my worst nightmare. In my worst nightmare, I could never ever imagine such a huge mass of bugs swarming the surface of the water, splashing and twirling around like crazy things all knotted together. Cockroaches, Mr. True says, steering away from the swarm of insane insects. You afraid of bugs? Malvina asked me. If they bite, I admit. Roaches don't bite, do it, True? Not normal, no, he says. Can't say what a creature might do flooded out of the home. We passed another swarm of roaches. No snakes, though. I hope they're kidding about the snakes in the water. But just to be sure, I keep my hands inside the boat. Bandy has settled into my lap like it's no big deal, riding in a canoe through a flooded city with crazy birds and clicking bugs in a giant crushing barge and a group of garbage bags slowly bobbing in the current. Something's wrong about the garbage bags. I don't know what exactly, but something's not right. Terrible thing happened here, Mr. True says. We gonna steer our way through it all. Don't let nothing touch us. He paddles strong and fast, veering left. Don't look back, he advises. Nothing we can do. Malvina starts to softly sing, Jesus Loves Me, in a clear voice. And that's when I know what I'm seeing isn't garbage. It's the barely floating remains of those who couldn't get away, who were too old or too sick to climb up into the attic like me and Bandy did. Dead people drowned by the flood. Malvina begins to weep, and she can't finish the hymn. Bandy crawls out of my lap and goes to her, and she hugs him to her chest. Good dog, she says, sniffing back her tears. Good dog. We're going to stop right there today, Rockets. Think about some of the questions that I asked you. Think about what just happened in here. What if you were in their shoes, seeing what they saw? Type me something in the comments. Don't forget to update your organizer. I'll be asking for a picture next week. Until Monday.